Hello, my name is Brenda, aka Lady Unchained. I am a poet from Southeast London, a radio host for National Prison Radio, facilitator, and advocate for life after prison. Honestly, guys, I never thought that I could have a life after prison, so I'm absolutely honoured to be here for the insight as well, virtually here. But thank you so much for having me. I want to talk about today just, I guess, what Black people go through within the criminal justice system. And I thought the best way to start off my talk would be to show my film, The Forgotten People, commissioned by Arts Admin, and was basically the filmmaker is Tracy. It was an amazing thing, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's just watch the film and then we'll come right back. Thank you.
I had to see it, so I pressed play. You've got this white police officer with his knee on somebody's neck. When I was looking at the police officer and his face was enjoying it. He was enjoying what he was doing.
Please stop killing us. I speak for the forgotten people, the ones you would rather see buried, tortured, and would call yourself lucky if you never had to see us. We are not your slaves, your prisoners, and we will never be your property, not again.
We've got to rise.
I guess that's why you fast in cages, paint hateful words on our streets, throw rocks and stones in the form of police brutality, and still we rise. Our bodies have been abused so many times throughout history you hoped will be extinct. We cry out with destruction and abuse because that's what you taught us. The one who inflicts the most pain is the master, so stop asking how we got this way.
In 2020, how are we still having to remind people that Black lives matter too?
Maybe ask yourself why your ancestors put mine in boxes they knew they can never fit in. And after fighting you with every breath, sometimes their last, they started to break their own bones just to please you. Not because they were weak, but after oppressing one's soul and spirit, the body is weakened and the flesh starts to lose the hope to live.
What I want to say is that what you can do, if you are a white person, is to engage in these uncomfortable conversations about prejudice and about your own.
I'm not here to pass blame or justify why there's so much bloodshed in a society we claim works. I'm asking you to stand up for human rights. I'm asking you to stand up and speak out instead of avoiding the problem. The problem that we see and still do nothing about. I'm asking you to understand that we are all connected through sight, sound and touch, and every time we look up we see the same sky. We breathe the same air, and when we bleed the same colour. So if Black people no longer exist, tell me who or what will be next. And are you willing to find out? Or will you help me build an unchained world where love is love and colour? Well, colour is for balloons at parties. Rise, my nations, rise.
Stand up. We've got to stand up.
On this topic of racism and white people feeling uncomfortable, I don't understand why should they feel uncomfortable and vulnerable where we're the ones that have made all the changes.
But even in the slavery museum, a security guard followed us around the whole time we were there.
That was my film, The Forgotten People, commissioned by Arts Admin and made by the incredible filmmaker Tracy. To be honest, guys, it was so important for me to kind of make something like this, something that talks about my experience, but not only just my experience, a lot of Black people within the criminal justice system, and that's men and women. I remember before thinking that women don't go to prison, women don't go to jail, and then I realized that there's a whole load of women in prison for such small things. The reason I'm talking about this today is because The Forgotten People is my personal campaign against the racism within the criminal justice system. Now, when I was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison in 2009, I was told I would go to prison to get help, I don't know, be rehabilitated and get some kind of support. Now, I wasn't your typical, offender. I had gone to school, I had gone to college, I had done national diplomas. I had kind of planned my life a way that if I needed to go to university, I would be able to get into university. So by being sent to prison, there was no opportunities for me because apparently I had too much of an education, right? Now, that wasn't the hardest thing of my sentence. It was not even the hardest part of my sentence. The hardest part of my sentence was being sent to Moulton Hall. Now, Moulton Hall is a foreign national prison. Now, I think it's a male detention center, but at the time when I was there, it was a female prison for foreign nationals. Now, as you can hear, guys, I'm from South London. Yes, I was born in Africa and I'm very proud of that. But when I got to this place, I was told that I was no longer British. In fact, I was told that I can be deported back to Uganda. For a black girl, black woman, you know, a black kid growing up in the UK, all I've really known culturally is the British culture, you know, South London. So to be told that I was getting deported to Africa, to be honest, I was forced really quickly to kind of embrace my African heritage as a little bit more than I did before prison. And that's not saying that, you know, the prison helped me find who I am. It's just saying that I grew up knowing I was a black woman. I grew up knowing I was a black female and an African female. The prison system makes you think that for some reason, now that you've committed a crime, that you no longer fit in this society. You no longer fit in a place where you've grown up all your life and gone to secondary school, primary school, whatever. Now, I want you to just take a moment and imagine growing up with your best friend, you know, going to reception with her or him, going to primary school, going to secondary school, finishing your GCSEs and going into college. And once you then separate, you study law and your friend ends up in a criminal justice system. You've grown up with this person. Imagine going into a courtroom and realizing that the friend that you went to school with is now the person that you are having to deport, having to lock up, knowing full well that that person is not the way that they're trying to portray them. What I want to get from this conversation from you guys is I just want us to come together a little bit more, find more support for black people within the criminal justice system. Let's not forget that there are people in jail for joint enterprise, people in jail for sentences that because they don't have money, because they are black, because they have grown up in a society that has made them have to force themselves to be stronger or appear stronger, you know, they end up in a situation like what I did. I'm not saying that I didn't commit a crime. I always admitted that I committed my crime. But to go to prison for defending my sister when she was attacked, for me, it makes me feel like who was there for me, who was protecting me. I was 20 going to prison. At the age of 21, I was in behind Holloway cells. And I just want you to acknowledge that the way our lives are, they're so entwined. When I was younger, I never once, when I used to walk past Holloway, not even knowing it was a prison, believed that I would end up there. There's a lot of young people like me that are going through things that unfortunately they react. They respond. If you're attacked, you react. It's a fight or flight situation. Now, for me, not knowing the law, not knowing, you know, solicitors, lawyers, I got a duty solicitor. And I'm not saying all duty solicitors are bad, but duty solicitors are not great. And it meant that my lawyer never put forward self-defense of another, which is what is used when you or your family are attacked and you fight to protect your family. I only heard about self-defense of another when I got out of prison. So this campaign means so much to me in so many ways. And I really hope that you guys can join me and prove that the system is rigged. The system is rigged so much so that Black people are no longer just being convicted for crimes that they have committed. We're also being convicted for the crime. We're also being convicted for a crime that we should never have to have a defense for. And that crime is being born Black. So when I first became Lady Unchained and created Unchained Poetry, I wanted to write a poem that I guess meant unchained. What is unchained for me? This is before I became Lady Unchained. This is before any of you guys knew me to be asked me to speak at these amazing awards. And I wrote this piece and I literally called it Unchained. And it kind of again talks about my nationality, not realizing how much those things affected me. And I think the reason I'm bringing this up again is because I don't get to speak about my nationality enough. I don't get to speak about the fact that I was nearly deported. You know, this could be a story that you're hearing from somebody else. You're hearing from my mother or my best friend who grew up with me. Remember that story I told you about growing up with somebody and then ending up in court, and that's the best friend that you had in school? I could have been that person, you know, that everyone talks about and just remembers the Brenda that they used to play with and go to youth centers with, you know. But I had to fight, and that's the problem. Why did I have to fight? Like, I was already serving my prison sentence. I had admitted my guilt. Why did I have to fight so much when my white counterpart with a British passport will go to prison, serve their time, and happily come home to South London, to East London, to North London, wherever they're from? But as a Black woman, I had to fight. Firstly, to be transferred back to Surrey, London, and secondly, to not be deported. That's just what Black people go through in a criminal justice system. And had I not gone through everything I went through, I don't know if I'd be able to tell this story. So this is Unchained. My nationality does not define me. Yes, I am Black, African, Black, and I guess that's all you see, but I am so much more. I am Lady Unchained. I am unchained. Defeat the captivity of this infection that we have grown to know as a prison sentence, which, if left untreated, can lead you to the road of explosive thoughts, causing your mind to fall apart, vivid dreams of being home, but home is just a dream. Haunted by the person you used to be, the person you used to know. Why won't they just let me be me? Why won't they just let me be free? I wasn't born with the hunger to be free. I was born free, Nelson Mandela. And if he could sit down in a prison cell for over a decade, then who am I to sit down and be defeated by this infectious curse that was created for us to believe that the truth is the lie and the lie is the truth? They used to hang us up in trees for everyone to see, lock us in chains to keep us in check. Now they cast judgment in so-called courts of laws and slander our names. I mean, why would our generation see themselves as anything different when you teach them the views on which you wish still existed? Teach our generation we existed before we were slaves who wasn't just made to be used and thrown away. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. Don't you see we're just reliving the history that we've been taught to believe that we come from? I am not strange because of the color of my skin. I am not a criminal or someone you should fear, strange fruit. You did not plant me, although you planted the fear of never being more than just your slave, your property, your fruit. You could not pick me up and take one bite of me. I am not yours. No wonder my brothers and sisters are sitting in jail cells thinking that they are fighting back by chaining themselves up, feeding when you're hungry whilst their families starve. We pay for the mistakes that we make while they just hide behind uniforms and badges. We pay for the mistakes that we make while they just hide behind uniforms and badges that they will never understand. The law is built to protect them. I mean, why else would they cast us away each time we come close to unmasking their disguise? They kill one of our own to remind us who's really in control. And like the slaves we are, we turn on each other to please our masters who wouldn't care less if we was here tomorrow. I am unchained. Thank you. Oh, okay. So again, I wrote that piece years ago, before I was Lady Unchained, before anybody knew what I was doing. I'm talking about unmasking their disguise. I'm talking about killing one of our own. I'm talking about, just if we stay quiet, we're continuing to stay slaves. And I know everybody tells me, oh, slavery's abolished, slavery's gone, but really, is it finished? Is it over? I kind of feel like slavery was reborn within the form of the criminal justice system. It makes sense, doesn't it? Look how many Black people are in prison. They abolished slavery by showing people what was really being done to Black people. So I am trying to show you what's really being done to Black people in the criminal justice system. Black people, poor people. So if you're white and you ain't got no money, just know you're next. Don't think it's just they're saying it's Black people now, but I need you to understand that if you are in a certain situation, if you're from a cancer estate, if you're from, a single parent, or a single parent that was made a single parent because the father was sent to prison, you are liable to become one of the people like me, Black people that get thrown away into prison and hope that we will never speak about what's happened to us. So abolish this whole issue of Black people being sent to prison for nothing other than being Black. And that is my cry, my campaign, and I'm begging you to be part of it. There is life after prison. I went to jail, nearly got deported. Thank God I didn't, because now I'm here to tell the story, and I'm sure many people will come forward and tell their story if we allow them and make them understand that they will not be judged. I don't really care if I'm being judged anymore. I have to do it so other people can know that I will take their pain, I will take their anger, and I will be their voice in the darkness. I am Lady Unchained, and my campaign today and my message to you guys is to stop allowing Black people to get sent to prison for just being born Black. I can't help being born Black. I'm Black every day of the month, every day of the year. I can't change that, and I would never change it, but I need you lot to change the way the criminal justice system sees us. Thank you so much for joining us at this year's Insight Awards. I'm so sorry we can't be there live, but COVID. Obviously, I hope everyone's keeping safe, and I hope everyone's enjoying the show so far. Of course, if you want to find me and follow me, you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Twitter is @UnchainedPoetry. Oh my God, I nearly forgot my account. @UnchainedPoetry on Twitter, and I am @LadyUnchained and @UnchainedPoetry on Instagram. I don't have Facebook, guys, but definitely check out my SoundCloud, and you can check out all the rest of the work that I do and the work that my artists do on the Unchained Poetry website. So yes, thank you.